Right, we've got one camera today. Things are a little bit hectic. I haven't actually done the shooting for about probably over a month now. There's some more footage to come from stuff we've been up to. We've been in the old workshop doing out the new space for TriFit. So there's been a few sneak peek, the update videos and that. If you've seen them, they're on there. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing. We've been picking up a lot of subscribers lately, so thank you. I suspect we're catching the algorithm, but being as I'm not actively pushing to get the site up, it's great that it's doing it under its own steam rather than me cheating or advertising it and doing stuff like that. So anything we get from that is a bonus, subscriptions wise. Likes, comments, they're great as well. I've been getting a few comments and that, some positive, some negative, and that's great. Those of you know I'm a level 3 triathlon coach, and part of being a level 3 is being able to take criticism on the chin and ask for feedback, whether it's wanted or not. So yeah, it's all good stuff. Made notes of it, changed the way I've done some of the videos over the past because of the feedback, particularly with stuff when I was mucking about. Anyway, waffling enough. I've got to get something done because I've run out of videos. We'd stacked a load because I blitzed a load of bikes over the Christmas period, got them out of the way. One of them still sat out there waiting to be collected because it belongs with this. So I thought now's a good time. Let's get that out of the way and shift it. Just for this, I just realised I'm going to be tripping over this all day, and it doesn't want to be out, it wants to be back. As I said, I've been down in the. I'm spending all my spare time at the moment creating the new pad. Sorry, I'm going to move you now, and I don't like doing moving while we're. Where are we now? We're still good. Yeah, we're still good. Yeah, sorry, we've got a bit of a shitty backlight going on there as well. So today's little challenge. Let's point you down here so you can see what we're looking at. So if you remember a few months back, we had another generator in. It was a bit bigger than this. Genuine Honda C something or other 250. Quite a big beastie looking thing. Had a few issues, rusty tank and a few other bits and bobs. She's dropped me this one off to have a look at this. So initially it'll run, but it's what I would call surging. So the governor is giving it. So usually that's a carburetor problem. So in anticipation, we've already got the ultrasonic warming up. Though that in itself is a bit of a mystery because it was it was on 15 degrees when I plugged it in, and it now says it's on 12 degrees, 13 degrees, 12 degrees, 30. Make your mind up. Anyway, I'm sure it's warming up. So we need to get that up to speed, and probably the carburetor's ending up into there. So we'll have a quick look over this, just check it out first before we try and do anything with it. Does look like it's got a bit of a oil leak or something going on there. It looks like it does have a low oil cutout, which is unusual for a generator of this age. Try to see where the oil, yeah, it's definitely leaking oil a bit. It's a bit wet around there. It's an old unit. I don't think it owes her much, other than she wants to use it when she's on her travels, camping in her van. So I don't actually know where the drain plug is for it. Normally it would be there. I suspect that's it there actually. There's an Allen key hole in the bolt, which is probably why that bit of there is all covered in oil. So we might give it an oil change. I might have some left that we can shove in there. Oh, that's interesting. It's got a pull start on it, but the recoil on the end of the engine's actually got a setup for a manual wind round as well. So even if that breaks, you can unscrew that and put a manual wind round and still kick it up. It's got a few issues as well. I did notice these are a bit stiff. They don't seem to go all the way across. I don't know why that is. We'll have a quick look at that. I don't want to get too much into it because we've been asked to do a specific thing, which was to stop the surging. So I've not even been asked to service it, but I'll see it. We'll see what the oil looks like, and check it's got some in before we get any further. So first thing to do is see if it's got any oil in it. Let's try it again. Looks like we've had a bit of a camera malfunction, so I think the last bit you saw was me rocking the generator from side to side to see if it got any oil in it. It has got some oil in it. I have topped it up, and I've since checked for spark. So I'll just show you that again. We had some issues. The top of the spark plug had disappeared into the side of there, so we had to break that out. So let's get that doing, and we'll just pause you and set you up now. So I do already know the answer to this. There you go. We've got some good spark. Compression feels good as well. So we've got spark, we've got compression. We just need to make sure we've got fuel now, and that's where the problem usually starts. As you can see, while you were away, let's check we're still on. I've removed the air filter. So it's got an oil foam filter there, and it's also got an air filter there as well. So it's a bit overkill, but actually you could probably just get away with that. A bit concerned about the padding on that's the foam starting to deteriorate, so that'll probably need replacing. But to be honest, you could just run it on the paper filter for the application that Geri uses this for. So this is Geri's generator, in case I didn't mention that. So what I was going to do next was just see if we could get it to run up. So I'm just going to squirt a bit of, this is 2-stroke mix down there. There's somebody walking up our path. We got it on yet. That's not a good start. Chokes off. Let's get a bit more. Well, it's not wanting to go, is it? That's definitely not wanting to go. Could be that fuel's just not even getting into the carburetor. Right, that's good. Engine runs. Is that the way these carburetors work is that there's a fuel tank under there. The carburetor sits inside the fuel tank. There's a cup in the fuel tank, and that's effectively the float bowl from a normal carburetor. There's a little pulse pump that pumps fuel out of the main fuel tank into the cup that's within the fuel tank, and then the pickup main jet tube on the carburetor usually sits in that and then draws it up. The pump will keep going all the time. When it fills the cup up, there's just a hole at the side of the cup usually, and then it overflows into the tank itself. They're quite good systems. They're less susceptible to getting shit and crap because all the shit and crap sits at the bottom of the tank usually. So and less susceptible to water and stuff because you can see the things tucked under there, but they still do get water in them. Depends if it comes through the top here. So we need to get this carburetor off. I don't know what fuel's in here, but we do know that it was hunting. I guess I could stick some fuel in it and we could hear it doing it, but I think it's kind of pointless. We already know it's. We've been told by the owner that it's hunting, so I don't think we need to see it ourselves. So I'll just get some stuff to strip that off, and then we'll. Right. First thing we need to do is just get the airbox plate off. It's debatable whether this is imperial or metric. Depends. If it's not a, I don't know what engine it is. Is it Honda? Oh no, it's a Briggs and Stratton. It's a Briggs and Stratton. So it's highly possible that this could be imperial. but this screw looks like a 8mm. Just let me close the choke off before I drop the screw down the air intake. I don't think that would be a massive issue given we're tearing into it, but let's not tempt fate and throw a bolt into the engine when we can avoid it. I've quite honestly picked the most awkward tool to do this with. I use a diddy one, with anything big as an overkill. Workshop's quite full because we've had to clear all the stuff out, the final last stuff out of the what used to be the old workshop. Most of it's ended up here. It's kind of forced my hand on some of the projects that were hanging on. If you remember, way back last year, we started taking that patio burner to pieces. That's up here now. That needs doing. I've got all the parts to do that. Not to give it away what we decided to do with it, which you were going to find out, but. And as expected, that is almost impossible to get to the screws on this. That's just what you want. So the carb's there. There's a screw there and a screw there. You can't see it. The magic of telly will spin you around. So there's a screw there I can see, but there's also a screw down there that I cannot get to. I'm just trying to work out if I can drop the tank off the bottom, because I might be able to get to it then if the tank's out of the way, but I definitely can't get. Well, I might be able to get a spanner on that. But that one's going to be difficult. I can get a screwdriver on that one, I think. They don't make it easy, do they? Get a bigger one. Oh. That's not coming off easily. I don't even know how you get the exhaust off this. Looks like it's just pushed in and it's just held on by those two screws there. If you can drop the tank off, I could possibly get to the main jet, but it's more than likely it's the idle jet that's, you can see the end, it's pretty scabby. There's no way I could get to that. Oh, I can't try. We can try a big bit. That's a big bit. Is that a bit too big bit? That might be a bit too big bit. Try that one. Try that one. Put that in there. Let's see if we can crank on it a bit. Probably won't work because I now can't get the socket past there. I'm just going to end up snapping that. No. God, that's well and truly in there, that is. Really got anything else we could try? Right, I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet to take the fuel tank off. This is supposed to be a quick 2-minute job. Let's put it this way, that's going to have heated up nicely by the time we get to it. No, that's too big. That's no good. That one. That's a Phillips. That's where we find out there's a given that 9 times out of 10 the problems with these small engines is a carburettor issue. You would have thought that getting it so you could actually take the carburettor off would have been a big priority. Right, I think there's another one there. There's a fair few things screwed into the top of this tank. I love the fact the tank's slung underneath the red hot exhaust pipe as well. I think they do it differently now. This is where we find there's another one under there that I can't get to. It's fastened on under there somewhere as well. Oh yes. That's annoying. So you've got to unscrew all them them screws there, as well as those two there, to get the carburettor off. And you can't drop the fuel tank without taking that bolt underneath off. But yeah, you can't get to the screws there without to me there's only those screws holding that on, so what's keeping that fastened in place? Aha! We might have just made ourselves a bit of room. As with most of these things, it's like taking any car or motorbike to pieces. You have to peel back the layers to get to what you need to get to, but it's working out what's the order and what's going to break and get stuck, so you can get yourself into a corner very quickly where you've moved something and then actually you can't get the next part off because you've already moved something that needed to stay there a bit longer. Right. We need to be careful here that we don't break anything. Let me have a good look at where that's I need a magnetic dish as well. Alright, so we've got multiple holes. No, there's only really one hole for that. The question is, can I get this out of it? Oh yeah, there we go. Right. So that's that out of the way. Have a look now, see why that doesn't go any further. That's weird, it does now. Run. Oh no, that's the choke, it's this one that doesn't go any further. Or we think it should. So it is just for spark, that one. It just seems odd that it doesn't go any further than that. And there's definitely well, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Weird. Right, so I can possibly get to that one now. The governor linkage is there. That feels like it's moving okay. So this is that's a good question. What sort of linkage is this? Is it so there's two sorts of governor. Quick governor lesson. You've got the governor that works on wind, so there'll be a flap inside here, and as the engine speed increases, the fan that's built into this shroud to cool it blows or sucks more and pushes this like vane out the way, which then works on a control arm. The other method is, which is probably the one that's in here, because I can't hear anything flapping around under there, is that there's a weighted governor that sits inside the engine itself, and as the engine speed increases, the weights in the governor go out, and that condenses a piece of mechanism down that then pushes a rod, which then pushes on this, which drops the engine speed down, which then brings the weights back in again, which means the rod goes out and it releases this. And the idea is that there's an equilibrium where it sits. Now, the problem is, which is what I suspect we've got here, is that when it's dropping down to its lower setting, the idle circuit's blocked on the carburetor, or there's some jet blocked on the carburetor. That means that as it drops down, there's not enough fuel getting into the system, so it then almost stalls. So then it overcompensates by really opening it back up again, so it then surges, it goes too fast, and it just keeps doing that, and that's what we call surging, instead of finding that nice equilibrium. And the reason it can't find the nice equilibrium is because there's a track that should be letting fuel in that's not there. Now, the way that they work and the carburetors are tuned for their mixture and everything is that there's an assumption that there's always a steady stream of fuel from the idle circuit, even when you're not in idle. And just by losing that, even when you're on rev, is enough to throw the tuning out, so it doesn't run smoothly and evenly, which is what causes that fluttering. And it could be any number of other jets that are blocked as well. So we will try and get that off now. Now I've got to that one at least. I'm still not sure how we're going to get that one out. I suspect that's going to have to come off for that, and possibly that. But we'll see how far we get. It's a bit of a pig, I think, is what we're saying. It is at an 8. It's a 9. We want to 10 or 11. What's that? That's an 11. Yeah, it's definitely Imperial. An 11 fits because nobody ever uses an 11. I ought to get my buzz on this, but I think I've sent all the batteries down to the other workshop, to the old workshop, the new Tri-Fit building, which I think we've decided we're going to call the bike shed. Right. Don't know why that's got a different bolt on it, unless that's for an earth. Right. These are, if you can see, these are folded over. Don't know why they needed to do that, but they have. I don't even know this is supposed to come off now, because these are still going to be in the way. Just seem to be getting loose. Let's see, these could go all the way through as well. That's quite possible. Ow, that was my finger. Yeah, I think they go all the way through. Perhaps I should have squirted some WD-40 on them first. God, look at the size of them. Look at this. God. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just a slip on. So we can get to this now. Well, we can get to that one. That one, and it was a number 8, just up here. No, that one wasn't a number 8, was it? That's bigger than that. So that's like a number. What should be an 11? Just to be awkward. I don't know if I can. God, I bet you can't even get a socket round it. How are you supposed to get that off? Right, let's abandon that and let's go to Plan B. Still not enough. Ooh. Yay! Right. That was an absolute pig. What do you reckon? That was a 10. Find out in a minute. Yeah. You can't even get a full swing on your screwdriver, on your spanner, because of the way it's in there. So I'm not holding much hope for getting this one off here. Looks like it is a 10. Could be a 9. It's definitely an imperial. It's definitely an imperial, I think. I have to drag my imperial spanners out. It's a bit loose on a 10. See what I've got on the imperial scale. It's not 7/16. It's smaller than that. I've got them here. Certainly not got them up here. They're in a. I think they're in a box at the bottom of the. Yeah, 9's not. A 9's too tight. Unfortunately, it looks like all my imperial spanners, other than a 1/2 inch, are all down in the thing. So we just have to make do with a 10, I think. Shockingly loose. So a little bit better. Aha. Well, I think I've got away with it. Of course, I put my. This is really how you want to be undoing a bolt, like this. Another laugh at me as well now. stupid design. I don't know if we're going to get it off at the end of that. Oh, there we go, yeah. It's cracked loose. Still not convinced that we're not going to find out there's another. So, or is that the breather? I don't even know if that was attached. Oh, it was. It was attached. I wonder if my if that will work on it. Ratchet spanners. I still can't get it off. Really chalky, the thread, and it just doesn't want to spin out. There we go. There. So why won't this come off here now? We've got another screw we can't see. I don't think we've done wrong. He probably just wants a smack. That's it. I think we're loose now. Yes. Somehow or other, I've got to get that off the governor bar. I'm not entirely sure how we do that. Surely not. Normally you just unclip the governor bars, you don't. This one looks like you actually have to disconnect it from the pivot arm. Yep. And shut that in there, hope we don't lose it, and then out we come. Right, there we are. Oh dear. Right, temperature's up to 31 degrees, so it's getting there. That's the pump. That's the pickup tube. Gauze looks okay. So some of these, there's some screws. It does look like it's got a bit of a bend in it. Have a look, see if there's any muck or anything in the little bit of dirt in there. I'm going to get too excited about. Great, and we just drop the screw for the governor into the bottom of the engine somewhere. A screwdriver and a magnet. You can have a watch of the fun and games here. So I've just noticed the screw that was in that governor thing's just disappeared into the bowels of the engine and I can't find it. Oh, come on. Yes, I know you're magnetic. That dropped onto the floor. radiator here now. Right, there's a couple of things we need to do in preparation for stripping this down. It's going to involve me talking to the camera, just so I can remember, and then go back later and do it. So that's the pump. I'm going to leave that well enough alone and assume that that's working, because if I start pulling that to pieces, there's fragile gaskets in there. There's a rubber diaphragm. I really don't want to get into that because I haven't got a rebuild kit for this. I don't even know if there is a rebuild kit for this. It's quite a common carburetor style, but that doesn't mean that there isn't anything available for this particular version. So right, that's one of the ones I'm interested in. So that's the air mixture screw. So that's half, 3/4. I suspect that's not right. Normally you would say 1 for this. So three-quarters. Normally it's 1 to 1.5. Usually being 1 1/4. Right, it does look a bit dirty. Shouldn't really put it there because I can guarantee that we will end up dropping everything. Cleaned out my little tub the other day. I'm chucking it all in there now. Right, what else have we got? I'm not sure what that is. That's a pin coming through from there. Normally I'd expect to see a jet in there. It looks like it might be in the side there, but I'm not sure how we can get that out. So that might be the jet. I've never seen one like that before though. Can't see anything anywhere else that could potentially be a jet. That's the crankcase pressure equalization tube thing that goes in there, so it burns off any waste gases. See what I mean about this? I'm just conscious that there might be a crack in that. These are where they normally fail. Either that brass tube rots out or this snaps off. So it's a case whether that's dirty or not. We'll chuck it in and we'll see where it goes. We might have to blast it out, but without getting into there, I can't really do that. But it doesn't look too bad. There was fuel in the reservoir, so it must be working. I'm trying to see if that's got a. Let's have a look. See if is my light working? Low battery. Appear not. Oh, yes, we have. I think that is the jet, but. And it does look like there's some muck in there. But I don't know how you get that jet out. It looks like this is potentially threaded. Maybe it's a really, really, really tiny Allen key. I don't have any. Let's have a look. Tiniest Allen key I've got. Your battery's flat as well, I know. Don't worry, I'll change you in a minute. No, if it is an Allen key, it's smaller than that. It looks like it's just pressed in. It does look like it's got some muck in it though, but that's a very, very tiny hole for a jet. That's ball pointed off. See, normally you'd see the jet in the end of that. So I'm slightly stumped with this carburetor. It's unless it is just all done through that one jet on the side. Through that, and that is the jet, which would make sense because it comes through to there, but I can't see anything anywhere else that would explain how that works. Got a sneaky suspicion somebody's been in here before us because the gasket on the top of the tank's mullet. I'm not entirely sure what benefit we're going to have through running this through the carb cleaner. Let's just get this out of the way. Oh, it's definitely getting through. I can hear it. Yeah, that's clear as well. It's percolating through there. Could be that it was just that screw was not where it was supposed to be. So I'm wondering whether we even bother with the because there is literally no other jets for it to. Yeah, the muck that was in there appears to have gone now. I'm starting to think that that was the a bit of play on that was the issue. Though there's the other half of the car gasket. Yes, that's definitely, we do not want to put this in because I don't want to muller that. Let's just clean this off. See, I think that was just set wrong. I think somebody's twiddled with that, and I think it's been too lean, and it wants to be richer than that. So that's all the way in. So that's half, one, and I would say a bit more would normally be what I would set these at. So I'm tempted to put that in now. I just want to have a look and see what the state of the fuel tank is. It doesn't look too bad. It's got some fuel in it. There's a bit of muck in there. See if we can suck some of this out. Right. I think we at this point we put it all back together and see what happens. Right. So one thing I've just noticed is that the pivot bolt that the governor mechanism pivots on, hence why it's called a pivot bolt, is had quite a lot of corrosion on it, and it could have been sticking on that. So I have cleaned it up. And put some grease on it, some white grease, some lithium grease. So that should be okay. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. Not no saying it was that, but let's just be extra cautious. I'm suspecting it is the fact that the thing wasn't set right. Let's just a quick tweak if it's going to let me. Right, and then we've got to get this one in. Assuming I've not over tightened it in the wrong place, like an idiot. No, it feels all right. We need to slacken that one off after all that. Oops. is up with that. That could do with a bit of grease on it too. Just feels really graunchy. I think I put the bolts in the same place. There's no way to get to that bolt. That's how it's going now. It's just been a bit of swarf on the thread. Just felt like it was starting to cross thread, but it comes to be it had gone in too far. The good thing is we can get them nice and tight anyway. Good and tight. Right. There's a few bits and bobs we're going to make sure we get back on now. Wherever they've ended up. That falling out underneath. There it is. So there's a screw that holds that in place. Give up with the ratchet on these. That wasn't the right one. I don't even know why I did that, because I took it out of the air cleaner box, which wasn't even the box I'd been putting all the screws in. That'll be why it didn't fit. Well, it fitted, but they're all the same length. All the same length. They're all the same length. Right, that's that one. I've got another 3 to get in now. I've just got to work out where all these bits go. So I think that went like that. And then I think that was just straight in. There wasn't anything. I've got to get these tight because the gasket has been mullered. Love the idea that we earth something out which is going to generate a spark right on top of the fuel tank. That's proper 80s. If I had to guess, I'd say this was 80s. Yeah, looking at the phone number, it's an 80s because we inserted some extra digits in at some point. So that's the old telephone number. 0246 was the old Sheffield number, and then it was 011. Then it went to 0114, Rotherham was 0709 and now it's 01709. So some of them got a new one, some of them. That looks to be working. That's the other thing, that idle one's backing out a bit. Shouldn't really have the idles on. It's the choke mechanism, so why is that not connected to that? What have I done wrong? That'll be it there. That'll be why. We didn't see it because it was tucked round the back. Come on, Toller, concentrate. I blame the petrol fumes. Want to put the lid back on that. I don't know where it is, to be honest. Who knows? Just keep snorting the fumes. Yeah, I've probably got about 2 hours of painting to do once I've done this. A friend of mine used to say the man who invented decorating was fucking. The man who invented fucking was decorating. Tony. I've seen Tony for ages. Right. Has that gone in? I think it goes in from this side. I'm not sure. Not sure though. It might go in from this side. That might be why we're having a few issues. That's probably it. Yep, that's it. Yeah, if you put it in from the other side, it was fouling the mechanism. I know you can't see that. So normally I'd have the other camera on for the close-up stuff, because you're not very good at close-up stuff. Not very good at much at the moment. The Insta's really letting me down quite a lot lately. Every time I try to shoot anything, it flipping well jams and hangs, and it seems to be still going now anyway. You have to keep remembering to stop it every 10 minutes or so and restart it again. Like most cameras, it doesn't like doing anything longer than 30 minutes. It seems to be a restriction of the video cards or the video processing chipperage. Right, so they're all done up tight. That's that open, that's that off, that's that on. That's that in there. We do have some fuel in there, but just not very much. So I think we're going to have to stick some fuel in. Right, let me just put the exhaust pipe in. Just make sure those cables are all out of the way. Sealed by soot, I think we'll class that one as. If it was a newer engine and we were expected to strip it down, I might be tempted to chuck some copper slip on these. But they seem to come out fairly easy, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. I can undo those, I can't. There it is, it's biting there, that one. Where's the one we use for that? We're definitely having a tool blind moment today. Very stinky in here. what size we said these were. 11. I was right. 11. Oh, here we go. That's why I can't find it. It was still over there. That's it. Right, all back together except for the air cleaner now. So it will run slightly lumpy because we've not got the air cleaner on. Right, let's see if we can get it to run. It's got fuel in it now. I might have to give it a little tickle to help it. And that's on. Choke is on. Give it a shot. That's interesting. So just run out of fuel. So that looks like that's what it was. It was the it was the mixture screw that was wrong. It was just it was running too lean. So it was constantly over revving, then having to cut back, but there wasn't enough fuel, and then it was undercutting itself. Very simple carburetor. It seems to be running okay now. I'll just check the outputs. I don't know what wattage it is, to be honest, so I don't know what I can plug into it to test it. Let's have a look what we got down here. 240 volts, and normally I have a rating plate on it somewhere that tells you what it's rated for. Oh, here we go. What's this? 240 volts, 8.7 amps, which equates to 2 kVA, 2 kilowatts. It's very poorly written. So 2 kilowatts, so it should be able to power a vacuum cleaner. The only downside is I'll have to go and get the adapter out of the van for that one. Actually, no, I've probably got one under here. That's a 16 amp, I believe. That's the other end to that. So I should give it a good test. What wattage that is. .2. Right, so that's 1200 watts. That's 2000 watts. So it should be able to power that, no problem at all. Yeah, it's set to the right thing. Let's give it another go. Come on, don't be awkward. It is on, isn't it? Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Let's just shut the airbox on. Check that. Shut that off so we don't drop them down there. It's getting a bit warm in here. It's getting a bit fruity in here. Don't count that as a win. I think that's all it was. I think it was just the mixture screw had got wound out for whatever reason. It just seemed to be making it run a bit lean. That seems to be quite smooth. That. It is an old generator, so we'll see what it's like when we put the all the air restrictions back on again. So we might have to wind it. Whoops, that's wham. That's wham. I'm missing a screw somewhere. Now drop it on the floor. I dropped something. I remember that. That's there. Oops. There's a lot of vapour coming out there. There's a red hot exhaust there. So, pardon me for being a little bit nervous. Oh, that's why that was the... I don't work out why it didn't line up, and it's because it's not attached. It's a very odd way of doing things, this. So it probably could do with a service kit. With a new filter. It's going to be quite difficult to find that filter though, so it might be easier just to cut one up or discard it altogether. So like I said, I don't think it's doing much. The oil, that's an oil catcher one. So you just put oil on there, and it's the only downside is that they do degrade after a while, and then they start ingesting the foam into the engine, and that's not good. But as you can see, there's an air element there anyway, so that's kind of your belt and braces. That's what really cleans it. Yeah, put it on the right way up. That would help. Just be interested to see what it's. Because I haven't seen anywhere where you can adjust the governor. So there must be a governor adjustment spring somewhere. I just haven't seen it. Definitely didn't see one under there. So it'd be interesting to see how you do adjust the tension on that. Must be underneath the fuel tank. Right, that's off. Let's stick this back on again, see if we can get it to fire. might call that job's a good one. So that's all it was. It was mixture skew. We've got that on now. It's up to Geri if she wants to give me a service. I'll let her know it's working now, and then I'll let her decide if she wants me to give it an oil change. I think the air filter's probably good. The spark plug looked fine. So, in fact, we didn't get the spark plug out, did we? We could have a look at that. Right, there might be another video follow-up anyway if we decide she wants to get an oil change done on it. I don't know when the last time it was done, but I'll ask her. But the exam question was, can you get it to run without surging? It is definitely now running without surging, so I would say job's a good one. So, bit of an impromptu video. I've had to chuck it in at the last moment. There is some more bonus footage coming of what's going on in the other old building, and hopefully once that's done we'll spend a bit more time up here because we've got loads of stuff to do. So let's turn you around and I'll just see what we're doing. So they're that there and that there, which you can't see, are what used to be our dining room furniture. There's some more legs down there off the table itself. So the table itself's over here. Now the idea is we're going to cut this down and make this into a small square, so the same distance that way as that way. So that's going to involve some creative chopping and re-welding back up, so we can try and keep as much of this faff work as possible. So probably going to lose that there and just bring this down, because that's the same scroll that's there, so it's the same all the way around. It's a nice square. And then I've got 4 out of the 6 chairs here, and we're probably going to weld some metal lats across there, and then just have some thin metal lats across there, and then just have some cushions that we can take on and off for that. So that's going to go on the sun that's outside the bike shed. What else have we got in here? There's this thing, which is either going to the tip, or I'm going to cut it off there, and we're just going to sit the burner there and use it as an outside burner rather than a big canopy thing that gets blown over every 2 minutes. I'm going to put the burner down there, and then I'm going to find like a chrome waste paper basket kind of thing to sit over the top of it, just so you can't touch it or get close to it, as a kind of a safety thing. And then we'll see if that works at all. And if not, then it's off on its way to the skip. The bit that was broken in it that stopped it from sparking and working properly, I've actually found a replacement for that. So again, it's whether or not we can integrate that, because it's kind of similar. So we'll have a go at that. I'm going to have to shut down, so it's getting really smoky in here. Anyway, right, so look at me. So here we are. Hope that was useful. Another generator. We don't get many generators to work from, and they're always from Geri. So they're Geriators, as my missus calls them. Geri's generators. So we'll give Geri a bell. Let her know it's ready. Her bike's ready. If she wants me to give it a service, it's just a case of cranking it up, get the oil warm, drain it out, and then decide if we need to clean the spark plug off. Won't bother with the air filter. I think the air filter's good. The oil air filter, we just need to keep an eye on that. It's not disintegrated yet, and there is a gauze in the way to stop it from getting sucked through, and a paper filter as well. So I think we're all right. It could, like I said, it could run without it, but it's running. So job's a good one. Do you know what? It could have even been the oil light that was causing it to surge as well, because it was just on the bottom of the oil. But they are supposed to latch, but it depends how intelligent that is. So it could have been going low oil, cut the engine off. Then as the engine stops flipping the oil around, the oil level comes back up again, it starts up again. So don't know. Anyway, right, job's a good one. Like and subscribe. Lockdown Workshop. Shoo.